Good evening, Silver Tubers. It's Mr. Zeke coming to you from the Silver Pouring Bench. I've got a little different video this evening. I got into a conversation with a fine gentleman on the Silver Tube about pistolas. So tonight we're going to do an unboxing, and I'm going to introduce you to Vera. So, without further ado, let's start with the unboxing. Or in packaging. Gotta love a sharp knife. Alright, so let's do this is a trade I did with well, you'll recognize the piece when you see it. Red carpet hand poured metals. Thank you, Mr. Zeke. A.G. Ender. Well, cat's out of the bag. Now we know who it's through. And I saw this piece, and I fell in love with this piece. And I had to have it. And as I've always tried to practice what I preach, when a piece speaks to me, I will find a way to get it. And so, oh, look at, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on here? This is a little heavier than it's supposed to be. Alright, so let's open this one first. There seems to be a mix-up, and there were two black pouches in the package, and there was only supposed to be one. So, let's see what Mr. Ender is up to these days. Alright, as RW01, 3.99 ounces Troy, red carpet hand pours, 999 fine silver, and oh la la, golly, that is a beautiful piece of silver. Look at how she stands off the piece. Gorgeous ponytail. I am in love. This one is not going in the community box, ladies and gentlemen. This is going in my floating coin shadow box on my workbench. Man, she is gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful pour. I love it. His pieces, his part of the trade's on the way. I shipped it a day later. I got bound up at work, but my gosh, she's just, and it feels so good in the hand. So let's see what this mystery one is. I don't know what this is. This wasn't part of the... He's known for this. He's a sneaky little dog. Oh, no way! He poured me a bronze one, too. He poured a copper. Oh, man. Look at that. I don't know if I can fit both of them in the shadow box. I don't know. Man, she's just as delightful. I'm just going to use the term delightful. She's just as delightful. Well, I've got twins. I've got to name them. I have to name them. They're twins. Man, thank you, AG. Now I feel bad. I should have sent you more. As typical. I'm gonna put Heidi right there. And I have to think of a name for the bronze one. I had already named the other one. Got in a conversation about firearms and got to describing this beauty. I'd like to introduce you all to Vera. And if those of you who get that reference, you'll know what I'm talking about. This is a 1911. I'll start with the magazines. They're Chip McCormick magazines. This is my competition. This is one of my competition guns. This is my 1911 for competing in the single stack division. I run Chip McCormick magazines, and I have custom made brass base pads for weight. This base pad weighs as much as one 230 grain round of 45. So when I hit that mag release, I don't have to worry about the mags falling free. They just pop right out. So we'll start with the nuts and bolts of this thing. It's built on a Caspian frame and a Caspian slide, which for those of you who don't know, Caspian is an aftermarket manufacturer of slides and frames. This is not a factory gun. You can't buy this gun. I built this gun from scratch. So Caspian slide, Caspian frame. It has a Dawson Precision fiber optic front sight with a Bomar adjustable rear sight, hand-fitted beaver tail, so you get no gaps here, which is the mark of a good 1911. And when the grip safety does not work, it's been disengaged, but when it's flush, you get a nice flush fit. The slide and frame were hand fit. The trigger guard on most 1911s is curved. I like a squared trigger guard after one of my heroes, Rob Latham, a pro shooter. He always shoots a square trigger guard, and I like it because when I grip the handgun, I get a good flat purchase all the way along the trigger guard so that my hand doesn't slide up along the gun. It has an oversized button here for magazine release, oversized slide stop, so I don't have to change my grip to release the slide. Has oversized, and I don't run an ambi thumb safety. I run a single-sided oversized paddle for my thumb safety, and as I said before, the grip safety is disengaged. Underneath here are G10 grips, but you take the grips off, you wrap them in skateboard tape you get from a local shop, and then you put them back on with Allen head screws. The front strap has been wrapped in skateboard tape as well. The underside of the trigger guard is hand serrated, as is the back of the slide itself, so you don't get any glare off of the rear of the slide. That's important when you're shooting outdoors in the sun. I'm running an ultralight match hammer. The internals are all cylinder and slide warp speed kit, which gives me, once I take the slack out of the trigger, this little bit of slack, the amount of pressure it takes to drop the hammer is literally about 1.5 pounds. Where all of you who shoot factory guns, yours are about 5-pound triggers. This one you sneeze and it goes off. And so not for your average shooter. Definitely for someone with some experience under their belt. On the bottom side, where we feed the magazines in, has an oversized mag well that I hand blended in, so there's no sharp edges or rough edges here. So when I go to slam a magazine in, all I got to do is get close and just give it a shove, and the magazine's seated. The barrel is a hand fit. See if we can get it to focus. I don't know if it'll focus or not because it's... There we go. The barrel is a Cart National Match barrel that's been hand fitted. I lowered and flared the ejection port, and I put an extra deep flare so I get good throw off with the brass when I'm shooting. The muzzle end is the bushing. You'll notice most 1911s, the barrel sticks out of the bushing ever so slightly. This was been cut flush and has an 11-degree target crown cut all around, and there's the Cart National Match bushing to match the barrel. The trigger is an EGW race trigger with a flat face. The reason behind that is no matter how I draw, no matter where I engage the trigger, high or low or middle, I get the same exact feel on the trigger pull. So if I get a bad draw or I get a bad engagement on the trigger, I get the same exact results when I depress that trigger. I get a nice clean break every shot. The slide has been finished in Cerakote, and that is tungsten gray, I think, with a little bit of black added, and the frame is black, just flat black. Gosh, I can't remember what else we talked about. I was describing it to him, and he said he really wanted to see it. I run unlike conventional 1911 competitors, single stack. I don't run a full-length guide rod. I have in the past. Oversized ejector there because I want to get that brass flying away from the gun as far as possible. I run a traditional Colt, original John Moses Browning style recoil spring, but the recoil spring is not your traditional weight, and that's something that a lot of people don't realize. Is just because you buy a gun from the factory and it's weighted, the spring is weighted to a certain weight, does not mean you have to run that weight spring in it. Most of you who run 1911s or have run 1911s will attest to the I'm not sure if I can do this. I usually don't. I try not to get the idiot scratch in the side of my 1911, but this one's been through hell and back with me. Most of you who have ever run a 1911, a full-size 45, know the resistance on the spring. This one, literally, you can rack with 2 fingers. And that's because rather than the 18-pound recoil spring that's in there, this is a 12-pound recoil spring, so it's very light. And the end result is it allows that slide to cycle really, really, really quickly, which keeps the muzzle end flat. So I know this is a longer video than normal, but I wanted to introduce everybody to Vera. She's a Callahan full breech auto lock. I just keep going with those references. And somebody post in the comments if you know what that reference is from. Vera, my full breech Callahan auto lock. So I appreciate everybody watching. I know it's a little different from my normal videos that I do, but someone asked specifically to be introduced to Vera, and there she is. And I love her because there's nothing on the slide. There's no engraving. There's no brand. I've had countless people, I'll be out practicing on the range, and they'll ask me what brand it is, and because there's no markings at all, except for Caspian Arms, Walcott, Connecticut, or Vermont, I'm sorry, Caspian Arms, Walcott, Vermont on the frame, and that's it. Everything else is sterile, and I dig that. Very, very clean. Very, very clean. And yes, from a sandbag, she will shoot a 2-inch group at 30 yards. So, full magazine's worth. Anyway, I appreciate everybody watching. Feel free to comment below, like, comment, and subscribe. And real quick, last night's pours after they polished up. There's the Roman coin. There's the massive dragon round. The Mayan hex. And the Aztec round. And I'm going to end it on that. Mr. Zeke from the Silver Pouring, Gun Toting, Auto Knife Carrying, AG Ender Supporting, Silver Pouring Bench. Cheers, everybody.